Welcome back to the Marathon Mortgage Happy Hour. I'm Mike Witzak.
I'm Rory Farrell, and we have a special guest here today. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Andrea Clair.
And Andrea, where are you from? Who do you work for? Who do you work with?
I am from right here in Philadelphia, technically Jenkintown.
Ooh, fancy.
And I work with Kind Real Estate Collective out of Real Broker in Ambler.
And I want to get a little bit into that too eventually because it's cool, it's new, I'm interested to hear how that all developed and everything. So
yeah, very exciting.
But for those who are podcast fans here, we're obviously in a different location. We are in Toska Brewery and Restaurant today. We've talked about them in the past. We've done their beers in the past. We went on location today. They're in Mount Airy, and the reason we've been wanting Andrea on for a while, but the reason that we had her on today is because you're the queen of Mount Airy. It's like you live here, you rep it hard. So
I do.
We want to talk about Mount Airy a little bit. Your career, your new team, all that stuff. So
Sure. Yeah, happy to share.
there's no format. So let's start with Mount Airy.
Okay.
I guess. Do you want to do the beers or no?
Oh, shoot.
Ooh.
Yeah, what are you doing?
God, I totally forgot. I got excited
exciting.
about having our guest.
I'm not the beer
Mount Airy's
guy. dude.
exciting.
I'm not the beer guy.
All right, well, it's cool because today we had some tap beer. So me and Mike got the Kosovo light lager, right? That's what I got. That's what you got. And what did you get?
I got like a raspberry sour, which is a guest beer. Okay. It's pretty tasty though.
Yeah. Good.
All right, well, cheers.
Well, yeah, cheers again to that.
Happy
Cheers.
Friday.
There you go. Happy
Thanks
Friday.
for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And
guys.
shout out Toska for having us.
I feel like we're getting away with something because we're
I know, right?
beers at noon.
Yeah.
Not in
Tucked
the
away
office.
in the corner.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you to Toska for having us. We pretty much came in. They're like, yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah. Follow him in there. There you go.
We got the Albanian over here.
Yeah.
That's kind of impressive.
It's my girlfriend. Though.
Don't,
Yeah.
Okay,
don't give
fair.
them too much.
It's not a recreational activity. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, Mount Airy.
Yes.
So, from Jenkintown, how did you get here, and why do you love it so much?
Sure. So my introduction to Mount Airy, I think, was through a couple of friends growing up that lived close by. I think I always considered Mount Airy Germantown.
Okay.
But because I went to school right here at Penn Charter in East Falls, I was always driving from Jenkintown to East Falls and would pass right through this area of, Chestnut Hill, Mount Airy, Germantown. And so when I found myself looking for a place to purchase my first home, this was 8 years ago, it felt like the right spot, right in between suburbs and city. It felt super, super close to the woods, which I was loving at the time and still do, obviously. And felt like it just had a really nice mix of both, and still does. I love it.
Yeah, this feels city.
Yes.
And then you can get to, quote unquote, the city. But then you get the Wissahickon Trails and everything right there, too. It's just like, it's such a nice kind of, like you said, duality of it.
Perfect
Yes.
blend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially this time of year when it's starting to get nice, you can actually get back out there and you
Oh
feel the
my
sun on you.
goodness.
You walk
Absolutely.
the river.
All of a sudden, the trails are just calling, and Kelly Drive, all of it.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Love
drives
Kelly
Kelly Drive every
I
day.
love a fair amount. So it's like this is like the middle ground where I like love to come up here. And even Tom and I were running on the Wissahickon Trail like once a week. I just love this area. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a little gem. So I kind of gave you the homework, like, hey, I want to talk about Mount Airy. Why do you love it? What are your favorite places? Like, just being a local. What do you do on the weekends?
Well, I think there's been a lot of changeover since I moved, back when I purchased. And I've been seeing a lot more businesses along Germantown Avenue. A lot of sort of changeover, especially after COVID and all of that.
Sure,
But
the place that we're sitting in has changed over
exactly.
after COVID.
Yeah, which was a little bit of a sad time seeing Earthbread close, but then welcoming Toska and trying to support new businesses that come in. We were actually chatting with some friends last night, really dedicated to supporting what's happening locally. We want things to survive and thrive here as the community, and the community does rally behind the businesses, but I think we're also a little opinionated about that as well. So as long as the businesses are open to adjusting to how we'd like to see things, I think there's real opportunity here for some growth and businesses to be thriving. Love seeing places like Move with Love, which is my absolute favorite yoga studio. Not only is it walkable for me, which I'll admit it's like 2 blocks away, but also it's been a fantastic place for community to see like-minded people. The owner, Holly, supports artists, so she has artists come in, she has musicians, she supports sound baths, tarot card readings. So it really does embrace community beyond just the yoga.
Sure.
Same thing, Pax Flora Goods, which is this amazing sort of thrifted, vintage, kitschy store that's also down the avenue. Fantastic. I just did a macrame class there the other day. I didn't know macrame was going to be my new love, and
You found your passion.
Can I ask
quick
you-
passion.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Please explain what that is.
So macrame.
At least on a daily basis, I have to explain to them about it.
Yeah.
There's a new thing I learn pretty often. So.
Or a
It's
new
very
word.
like mid-century modern decor. Definitely homey. I think in the back of my head, I was like, I'm going to make one of these for every single one of my clients, once
that's
they
kinda fun.
purchase or sell. And I'm sure not all of them would love a macrame for their wall.
But they are getting one.
But they're getting one anyway because it brings me inner peace when I do it. It's similar to knitting. It's like a knitted piece on the wall. And the one that we made, you can put like flowers in or a little plant.
You'll know, like when you see it, you'll know what it
Yes.
looks like.
Okay.
It was on your Instagram the other day.
It was on my Instagram. Yeah. So things like that. There's other like gifty, crafty places. Vera Doyle, which is literally around the corner from us here, I think just up the avenue. Cute, gifty stores. So it really does feel like stuff is popping up. The community is celebrating these opportunities of businesses and
Nice.
wanting them to really,
And it all has like a similar vibe to it, like almost like, I don't even know how to describe it, but like hipstery, hippie, kind of like grassrootsy, like
Crafty.
not quite like hustle bustle city.
Yes.
Like craft. Yeah.
very crafty, very like
Artisan.
individualistic, artisan. There's even Perennial Hub, which is opening. I think they're doing their opening tomorrow, their grand opening, which is they've taken over this tiny little old schoolhouse on Germantown Avenue right next to a cemetery. And they are offering goods where you can bring a jar and fill it up with dish soap or
cool.
all sorts of recyclable goods, and then house cleaning, good for the environment. And
I've seen that before. Yeah, like you can go and fill up your like laundry detergent or
Exactly.
your dish soap or yeah. I've seen
Yeah.
that used before.
Yeah. Unique little local spots. Like,
Yes.
you're not going to see a Target popping up on Germantown.
Oh, no, not anytime
Andrea will
soon.
not stand for that. Will not.
I mean, we do love a Target,
Yeah.
but
like, not in
but-
my backyard.
Yeah.
yes, being able to support like the creativity, the individualism, the diverse community, I think is really something that stands out about Mount Airy.
Yeah, it probably draws those people to buy homes and stay for
For
8,
sure.
9, 10 years.
Yeah.
Like that. The other thing that I saw on your Instagram, maybe a month ago or so, that I thought was very cool was the refrigerator, kind of public refrigerator program. And I don't know anything about it. Like,
Yeah.
I could get what you told me on Instagram, but give a little bit more insight on it, because
Would
I think
love
it's very
to
cool.
share because it's a fantastic thing that it's actually more Germantown than Mount Airy, but it's all encompassing because anyone who's in Mount Airy is supportive of Germantown and I think leans into that community development as well. But Germantown has a fridge program essentially where they have, I want to say, at least 3 or 4 different fridges located throughout the area, and it's advertised to be able to support, either make sandwiches, drop food off. I have a friend, Downtime Bakery, which is another local business. They're opening up on Germantown as well right now. Dana, who runs Downtime, sells goods out of her house, and whenever she has extras, she drops them off at the fridge. So we recently had a fridge. This is what Rory was talking about. We had one that was close to my yoga studio and noticed that it wasn't being tended to, and it was outside of a business that had gone out of business. And so I took it upon myself to clean it and make sure it was available if people wanted to leave holiday food. I think that was back in December.
Yeah.
And they've since removed it, and I think it was probably because of there's a new business that's moved in there, a new salon. And she was worried about not being able to maintain that. But I know that there are still other fridges, and I know that Share is involved. So Share, food donation will often drop off food there as well.
Yeah.
It's a great program for the community
so
because
unique.
it's such a diverse population over here. We have, very affluent families and community members, and then we definitely have some food insecurity and some people that really require that kind of support. So having the fridges, having the food fresh available to them so that they can go and either support their children or be able to have some fresh food is certainly really important.
It's just such a cool idea, and then
Yeah.
that your community implemented it, and it's going well. Like, you know,
Yes.
there's,
Yeah.
it just shows that the community cares about itself. So it's very, very cool.
I think they have a Facebook page if anybody's interested. Germantown Fridge, Facebook something. If you want more info.
I saw that.
I'll throw it up in the bio.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so you're a realtor.
Yes.
We kind of like backed into that. Tell us about like the Mount Airy community from a real estate perspective. How's it looking? And just like, I guess, like, what are the benefits? What are like the things to kind of look out for? Like, you do obviously more than Mount Airy. You do everywhere, but you obviously have your heart here. So
I absolutely do and would love to.
Feel free to bias the opinions. Go for it.
I love Mount Airy. Clearly, I've been here for a while, and you know, I think my husband and I would like to stay and find something. You know, eventually, when we grow out of this house, move into something else, but still be able to stay in the community because it's so fantastic. From a real estate perspective, it's been very interesting, especially because the community, especially Mount Airy, once someone comes here, they stay forever. So there are a lot of homeowners who have been here for 10, 20, 30 plus years. Homes are handed down to family members. People pass in their homes, you know, these large mansions over on Gorgas or Gowan. You know, so it's very interesting, especially because now we're seeing some more changeover with investors coming in and renovating, and maybe not such great renovations all the time, which can sometimes, I think, deter people who are trying to come in with the affordability of a smaller row home, but really are looking for the charm and the cool aesthetic that Mount Airy offers in the homes themselves. So wanting to definitely encourage investors to maintain some of that charm, maintain some of that uniqueness that is Mount Airy, because I think that's what the community draws anyway. You know, and also seeing some newer development, right? These large townhomes that are going up for a price point that doesn't necessarily fit the community all that much. And the neighborhood, I'm part of some neighborhood programs as well that will sometimes fight developers coming in. For example, there's sort of this auto shop across the street from my house. It's been sitting vacant for a while. I mean, pre-COVID, when I moved in, there was nothing there. But we know it needs to be dug up. There's oil tanks in the ground. Right. It's going to be quite a project. And I know the developers have an idea to put in a 36-unit apartment building with only 12 units for parking spaces. And the community was up in arms, not only because it was going to overshadow the public pool at Pleasant Playground, but, you know, did it really fit with the community? Was the rent going to be affordable to people in the community? And the community has been very outspoken enough where the project hasn't really started yet. And I think that's something interesting where everyone gets together and is really, really outspoken about how to continue the legacy of the community and what should be brought in. Like, they're open to new development and seeing some new transitions happening, but certainly wanting things to still fit and make sense for locals.
Yeah, it's almost like the home that the developer comes in and kind of makes more modern. It's kind of a bigger view of that. Oh, you know, now you're coming in and changing something about the community, like the community being the home. Yeah. You know, and it just doesn't fit. You can't just retro.
And you see that a lot in like Philadelphia too. Like, I mean, even on my block, I think there's so many cool homes that could have been left the way they were and it would fit in perfectly with the community. But then you walk down, it's like, I know for a fact on the street, right? It's not Harper Street. I forget the name of the street, but it's like you walk down, it's like row home, row home, row home. And it's like two massive renovated row homes next to each other with like the black and white and everything. And I'm like, this is so overdone everywhere. Like, this is all you see. You don't see anything really unique anymore. Or anybody like taking time on the project, which I think is important for this area because it is a very big community sense. And if you're going to be renovating homes, it's like, why don't we have that character involved with the house? Why do you want to whitewash everything and make it black and white and put granite everywhere? It's like,
granite, gray. I mean, it's understandable as an investor them wanting to get the return on the work that they're putting in and you know, wanting it to make sense, and people want something that's fresh and new, but how do we marry the two, right? And especially in this area where you'll walk blocks and there are monster houses. I mean, like 6-7 bedroom homes, right? Yeah. Which is so impressive on these large properties. And then you'll go 2 blocks over and it's, you know, these adorable little row homes.
I mean, this was like the getaway for people in Philadelphia at one point in time. You know, this is like where they'd come and vacation almost. Like they'd come up here and stay at their mansions up this way and get away from Philadelphia. So it's like all that history in these homes. Yeah, no, I get why you guys want to preserve it.
Yeah, for sure.
Very interesting.
And ultimately, you know, the market's going to dictate what goes in and what gets sold. And, you know, like if all of a sudden all those things are being sold, then more of them are going to go in. But if you guys are preserving the community and the people who are wanting to buy homes in this community don't want that, then investors aren't going to do things that aren't going to make them money. So
Exactly.
Very cool. So unless you got anything else you want to add about Mount Airy, I'm sure you can go on and on. I want to hear about your new team too.
I could go on and on. So I will say, I had the pleasure of joining some friends last night. We ate at Bar Lizette, which is another new restaurant down the way, owned by the gentleman that owns Mount Airy Tap Room. It's a wonderful little restaurant. We ate there, had a great meal, and then went across the street. And if you can actually look out those windows, we're looking at the Sedgwick Theater, which is a really historical, amazing theater.
I love that old theater.
So cool. And I have not taken enough advantage, probably. I'm going to blame COVID that I haven't seen too many shows there, but we finally saw Macbeth there last night, put on by the Quintessence Theater, who has essentially taken over the Sedgwick
They're
Theater.
posted out front.
Yes. So they've taken over, and I know that they're looking for support to be able to bring the Sedgwick back to what it once was. I have taken a couple pictures of the inside. Super amazingly high ceilings. It's definitely starting to deteriorate. You can see it, but they're still putting productions on. And they actually do productions in the lobby of the theater.
Oh, that's cool.
If you can imagine. So it's like a black box in the lobby, and then beyond the black box where we're actually seeing those productions is the rest of the theater. But because it's been so deteriorated, they haven't been able to do any shows in there. So I just needed to give a shout out to that theater. If anybody's looking to support the arts and Mount Airy, that would be a great way to do it.
So come to Toska.
Yeah.
Get a beer,
Exactly.
get some food, shoot over there, see a show. And I mean, if nothing else, like, you know, God forbid it does go under, it's like you're on a timeline now. So like go now.
Go now.
You know, and go to a very unique thing where you're seeing a show in a lobby.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I think Macbeth ends on Sunday is their final day, but they have shows throughout the year, and they're fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hear about, I won't even say your new team, it's just kind of a new branded team because you've been with the team for a little bit now, but tell us a little bit about that and how that development happened. And
wow.
There's a lot going on literally in the moment right now, like this time frame, because I talked to a couple of your other team members and it seems like there's a lot of movement.
There is a lot
stuff.
of movement. I think there's been, I will admit there's been a lot of movement on the back end for me brokerage wise, but I will say being on the team that I'm on now, the amount of support that I get, the amount of modern thinking, trying to not necessarily make this business new, because what works, right?
Sure.
We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but certainly moving with what's necessarily non-traditional into more modern stuff. Podcasts, right? More social media, more just making sure that you're available, connecting, online presence, you know, really making sure that conversations are available to buyers and sellers, and our new
I
team.
love it. I think it's such a cool, it's KYND, so
Kind
check
with
them
a
out.
Y.
I'm sure they have an Instagram, but it's such a cool branding. And
yeah, we're really proud of it. I think we have some powerhouses and some newer agents, so it's nice, and everybody's involved. There's not one person that, you know, doesn't speak as much, or, you know, everybody's really got a say in how we're going to build our businesses. Still focusing on our individual businesses, but knowing that we're stronger as a team.
Yep.
And we're stronger when we listen to each other and take each other's advice and support each other.
Yeah.
We started as the artisan group. So when we first joined Real Broker, we were a team of, I want to say 20 people, headed, you know, our team leaders were three gentlemen that were guiding all of us. But I think at the end of last year, it really seemed like we needed to focus in specifically and get a little bit more granular on how we were doing our work, what our goals were, and who we aligned with best. And that's sort of where the team split up, and I went, you know, with my team leader, Matt, and a couple of my other team members, it took some other team members as well, and really split off and are focusing in on you know, what we're actively trying to do goal wise, of course, business wise in our own scenes, and utilizing Real Broker and what they offer, us as realtors, which is fantastic, and very eye opening as someone that's definitely newer to real estate and didn't really understand who the broker was in this scenario and how the brokerage impacted my business. So that's been interesting. Yeah.
No, it's fun. I mean, I follow your whole team because I know your team, some better than others, but follow them on Instagram, chat with them, text. Patrick's been on this podcast before.
Yeah.
So and we're working on getting a couple other people from your team and the team that you had broken off with to come on. But I just like everything about what you guys are doing. Like the vibe is good. It's collaborative. It's competition that's healthy, but not competition that's going to be like dragging anyone down. It's like very team oriented. And I mean, that's how we work. It's like it sounds silly, but like not a lot of people go in an office anymore. And we're literally like 5 feet away. It's almost it's a little too much at this point.
It's very close.
We're bouncing stuff off each other. And, our boss, who is the owner of the company, he's like 10 feet that way, and we're bouncing stuff.
We're very communal. We're a very communal office for sure. And it seems like it's the same way with you guys from what I've seen. Like
Definitely.
Is that their office, or where were we that one day?
That was
the previous office,
the Ambler office that is no longer your office, but the team that you were in.
Yes, the one. Yeah.
Okay, so that was a separate. But like when I was there, people were in the office doing stuff. They're like talking. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen this. Like this is
pre-COVID. This is kind of like even before you started, even way before that. I used to go into offices, and that's how I know you, from being in the office and like sitting down and like just dropping donuts off or dropping coffee off or just hanging for a little bit. You go in office now, it's like nobody's there. But when you catch an office like that one or like the one like we have, it's like you walk in, you're like, oh, this is a different thing. Like it feels like you guys all know each other and you're friends and you get along and
for sure
collaborative. So.
Yes, it felt different when I had my conversation initially with this particular team. I could tell that they were doing things differently. In a way that got me excited because I think I probably tend to do things differently anyway. But that was the allure, right? There was this team presence. There was this positive energy, this sharing of information. I didn't feel less than because I didn't know as much or had a question or it even felt like, there were times where my team leader said like, here, have this business, which was new for me, It's very new.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'll take that. Yes. And yeah, the sharing is beyond. Like even now that we're separate, we still all work in that same open space.
Yeah.
Even though we're on separate teams, we're all still high-fiving, joking, having lunch together. Sometimes we'll go out for drinks afterwards, as long as people are making it to the office, which a lot of us do.
And if you have a cool environment in the office, guess what?
You want to be there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Beers in the fridge. I mean, it's not like we're, it's not massive.
But I mean, we get it.
Yeah.
We have a beer podcast. I mean, a mortgage podcast is what I meant to say. But yes, it's a cool space. It's right on Butler. Like that is, it lends itself to being a part of the community and feeling like you're already part of the community, both Ambler and then also, in your real estate community, even if you're two separate teams, quote unquote. But
yep.
And I hear there's some other movements going on. Maybe we can't talk about it, but
there is
I'm excited to hear
surprising
some more stuff in the coming weeks.
Yes. Yes.
Oh no, I'm curious. Wow, I finally get to say
off camera.
Yeah, I finally get to say we'll talk about it off the podcast, and now everybody's gonna be like, "Oh shit, whoever made it."
Yeah, we know
the two people that made it this far. Hi, Arvin.
Yeah, it's very technical. I don't know that I'm the one that should be sharing that.
No.
Yeah.
That's why it's off air.
Cool. Yeah,
Secret.
very secretive. Anything else?
I'm good. That was fun.
That was great.
Yeah.
That's
and we
great.
got to drink. Sorry, you didn't get to drink a lot of beers.
Yeah, you were
that's
talking.
okay. I was like chatty.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what we want. That's why you're here.
Anything? You got anything you want to promote?
Anything more?
Any listings your team has? Anything? Any open houses this weekend?
Gosh,
any plays?
No
Any
open
plays?
houses this weekend. No,
Shout out to Attic Brewing.
You would love. By the way,
love
the
Attic
whole
Brewing.
the whole time you're talking here about all this stuff, you would love Jim Thorpe. Have you ever been to Jim Thorpe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love Jim Thorpe.
Yeah. I was
she's a
gonna
hiker,
say. I was
she's
gonna
a
say. Like you would.
outdoors.
This is very much up your alley where I grew up.
Yeah. Well, and there's a drive-in theater there that I
There
happen to
is.
love, and you
That's
can
The
go.
Mahoning Valley Cinema?
Mahoning Valley.
Yeah.
Not
Should
only
I leave,
like
guys?
Yeah.
Mahoning Valley, like that. I have friends that go up with their camper van and they go see like a triple feature at there, and then they sleep.
It's 5 minutes away from my mom's house.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
and the like bars there downtown.
It's interesting.
It's cool.
Oh, downtown Jim Thorpe's cool. Yeah, no, I will give you that. Yeah, definitely. And there's Radical Winery, there's Molly McGuire's, there's a ton of like in the whole vault. But then what made me think of all this was when you were talking about that, like the Monchunk Opera House. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, so that's like an old theater.
Am I missing something?
You're definitely missing something if you're into plays and concerts and all that
man.
stuff. Oh, the Monchunk Opera House. I can't remember the owner's name, but my mom knows them very well. And long story short, they put on like they have a Jim Thorpe Film Festival every year for like small films.
Yes, I know about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
Sounds like I'm
definitely
gonna have to make it up there again.
There you
Yeah,
go. Get
yes.
your camper van and
It's
go for a
close
hike.
enough,
and-
you know?
Yeah, it's not that
it's an hour on the turnpike. It's not bad.
No, not bad at all.
40 minutes if you're
driving
driving with me.
Yeah. Nothing like that I can think of to promote. You know, I
Follow you on Instagram.
always on Instagram. I was an obsessed jump roper most of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Some people know that, some people don't.
I forgot about it. You're a very interesting person.
Yeah.
A lot of irons in the fire.
There's a lot of stories, and and so I do have a desire to do a jump rope gathering, which I had done back in COVID, because I'm across the street from a rec center that just had tennis courts, and I would get on next door and invite people mostly because I was jumping by myself and people would stop me, and I was making a lot of friends like just on the street who would ask, or people would ask, because I started an Instagram, the whole thing, and eventually the community was like, we want to come jump rope with you. And so I got a bunch of jump ropes. I had some old ladies come that were really into like double Dutch. And they were upset that I couldn't double Dutch, but I was like, you gotta teach the youngins. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know single.
Damn, double Dutch is crazy.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you what, too. Jump roping is no joke.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah.
it's no joke.
15 minutes of jump roping, you're like, I'm good for the day.
Yeah. And I was jumping like 2 hours a day. I was jumping like in the morning and then at night because I was so obsessed. It's so joyful once you can get past the pain of the first 10 minutes, and you should really only start like 10 minutes a day. You should really only start that way, even though that feels like nothing, to build up.
Oh, it'll feel like something after 9
This
minutes.
rules, dude. I feel like we should have like a hopscotch club too. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Double Dutch. This is awesome.
My goal is to
Pick
get
up
like a
stick.
jump rope
Yeah.
gathering. Once spring is really officially here, do a jump rope gathering, maybe get an ice cream truck, invite the community, get some jump ropes out there. It's really just a way for the community to get a little physical fitness, to introduce something that's super easy, right? It's just a rope. It's cheap.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Cheap.
If you want to do this,
$10
we're in.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
in.
so fun.
Yeah. Let us
So
know.
That's a little secret goal I'm working on with my yoga friend.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, follow her Instagram for,
Yeah.
yoga and jump rope
Please.
meetups.
All things Mount Airy, all things real
Yeah.
estate.
Love it.
My dog might make it in there. You know.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Maybe some Jim Thorpe photos too one day. So
Yes,
yeah, there
that's
you go.
definite.
Cool. Very nice.
All right.
Anything else?
Well, thank you for coming on. That was
Thank
fun.
you so much
That was
for
awesome.
having me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This is
thank
great.
Toska, thank you to Mount Airy for just keeping it very old school.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Happy Friday.
Cheers.